Good morning, everyone. It's Erin Ward here from WSI Digital Solutions Group and the Building Brevard Network. And today I'm joined by Patty Esparza with Aflac. Patty helps business owners with unique challenges they face, such as attracting top talent or finding ways to save on taxes. She helps people keep their life going when an injury or illness strikes, and we are so happy to have Patty on the show today. Before we get into the nitty-gritty and start peppering her with questions, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit about your background and how you got into the business?
Excellent. I have been in insurance and risk management for over 30 years. It was something that I just fell into. Nobody says, hey, do you want to be an insurance agent?
Right.
This one actually occurred when I was laid off from a safety job that I had in 2008. Ending my unemployment, I don't know what I'm going to do,
Sure.
but I had to get my hair done. So
Sure.
I went in to see my hairdresser, and we were chatting, and she goes, well, do you know what my mom does? I said, no. She says, she sells Aflac. I think you'd be good at that. She didn't even really realize that insurance was my background. So her mom contacted me, got me hooked up with a wonderful outfit in Denver that did Aflac, and I've been here for almost 9 years now.
Wow.
Best company I've worked for. It's excellent.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
we had a chance to really kind of catch up and talk a lot before the show had started. But one thing you talked about is how Aflac is really, it can be so many different things to business owners and to individuals.
True.
I mean, it can be the primary care, it can be the supplemental care. So talk us kind of through what the perfect scenario is for you, how you can help a company, let's say of 10 employees. What would be the ideal scenario for them?
First, I would want to talk to that business owner and really get a handle on their business and how things work for them, what's causing him struggles. If they are having struggles with a certain area, this is where I'm going to direct my comments to him and my solutions. If they're having trouble with work comp, let's say, maybe we can help them find a way to change their mod rate over time with some programs that we can implement. Maybe they're having trouble with employee retention.
Sure.
And almost 60% of employees were polled said that they might go to a lower paying job if they offered benefits. Well, you can attract and retain some quality talent that way by just offering something and doing them a service, and Aflac works.
Yeah, and it was amazing when we were talking, she was talking so much about how employee retention can be a huge side effect of good benefits. And
It is.
I mean, in my understanding, it's because the employee feels like you care, but it's also, I mean, is there anything that you've noticed in your 9 years of being with Aflac that kind of helps people understand why that retention is the way it is through insurance or benefits?
Well, I do think it's because it does show that the employer cares, but it also gives that employee something to work with. It gives them a benefit that is not only for them, but it's for their whole family. And if your employer is helping you take care of your family, how much more likely are you to stick around?
Because then they feel like they're part of the family. They feel like they're part of a work family.
Yeah, they feel like they're really cared for,
Yeah.
and that they have an option there that their employer is willing to help them with.
And you said kind of each industry that you found, there's some kind of some trends kind of within each industry. If
Sure.
they're one specific type, there's typically more workers' compensation, like construction or something like that.
Right.
So let's say we walk up to a construction company and you said you walked up on the job site. What kind of would be your first interaction to help people sit down with you and learn more about the products that you can provide?
Well, I'm going to talk to the business owner first, and he's going to say, we're good, we already have insurance.
Sure.
And I'll then start asking some questions. That's great. What kind of insurance do you have? And does everybody have the same thing? Do you provide this for your employees? How is that working for you? And does your insurance company pay your medical bills, or do they pay you? And that generally kind of stops them in their tracks. Well, they've never paid me, so how does that work? I said, well, that's what we can do for you. We can actually pay cash to an employee to help them keep their lives going. Can you see how that might help retain those employees? They might want to continue working for you at that point.
Yeah, and one thing you had mentioned too is that people don't really quite understand what Aflac can do, what the difference is between that. Obviously, they see the duck, they see the branding everywhere, but they they're uneducated a little bit about what products you can actually provide. So one thing you had mentioned is that you do a really good job of educating people on what those services are. So talk to us a little bit about how you can help companies understand.
Just by sitting down and chatting with them. I help them to understand, because I've gotten all of these different misconceptions. Oh, that's major medical, right? No. Oh, that's car insurance, isn't it? No, that's not the duck, that's the gecko. We actually can sit down with each employee and educate them as well as to what's best for their situation, what works for them. Is this a young lady who wants to have kids in a year? Well, this is going to be certain products that I'm going to recommend for her. Whereas maybe it's a single dad who's very active and has kids going out and doing things on the weekend. I'm going to point them in another direction and suggest something entirely different for them, so they can take care of their kids and their family. So it really is individual as far as the business, how we can help them, and each individual person as well. We can customize the options for each one.
And one thing you had also mentioned is that there would be some opportunity for people to kind of take advantage of the workers' compensation. For example, that same dad who didn't have the supplemental insurance got hurt on the weekend and then put it as like an on-the-job injury. Not only are you protecting, you're doing a better job of protecting the employer.
Exactly. We are doing that because then that employer has reasonable thought that his employee is taken care of off the job as well. And so if that employee knows that they have some money coming in if they're hurt off the job, then they're able to go ahead and relax and not try and put that on the work comp.
Yeah.
Not that most employers are dishonest, they're not. But if this is going to help some things to have your employees covered while they're hurt off the job, then why not do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just give them that peace of mind. I mean,
exactly.
Because insurance is really just kind of like a security blanket. You know that if something happens, you're protected, you're covered.
And honestly, at some point, something's going to happen to all of us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, none of us get out of this life alive, and some bad things can happen along the way, and that's what we're here for. We've been around since the mid-50s. The duck has helped us get recognized, which is great. But people really are now seeing Aflac and starting to understand, I think, what we can do. And the new Aflac has a much broader scope than it's ever been before. We can partner with major medical companies. We can actually partner with other dental and vision companies, different companies that we can help them. We have the people and program and platforms to actually integrate with other insurance companies to become, if you will, the world's largest enrollment force. If an HR manager is trying to communicate benefits by sending out a memo or packets or something, let us come in and educate your employees on what we really do. Let us educate your employees on their benefits that you provide as an employer, as well as bringing in Aflac to mesh with that and make sure that they're fully covered, not only for their major medical needs, but for anything that might happen as far as an injury and illness. Those things take people out. Out-of-pocket expenses are always going to be there, and they increase when you're not working.
Yeah, and that's amazing to me because, you know, I've obviously owned and operate my own business, but when I worked in corporate America, I did dabble in the HR side of it, and you get this big white folder that had all of the things that you were covered on, but who takes the time to read those? Then when something happens and you realize that you're not covered, you're almost awestruck. So having someone come in, educate them about their current policy, and then you said that you spend a lot of time one-on-one, even after that basic kind of educational seminar, to figure out what would be best for each individual employee or what you could provide to help them.
And I won't say a lot of time, but enough time to give that employee a true education, help them really understand what the benefits mean, how they work together, and give them the privacy they need to talk about anything that might be health related. Obviously, somebody might need to tell us about some health related things to see if they can get any of these programs, and individually they can do that a lot better than just saying, okay, here's what we have as an overview. That's great, but how does that fit your situation?
Well, and it probably helps alleviate some of the stress from the HR managers themselves, because they're running 900 miles an hour. You know, they don't have time to sit there and read that packet as well, but you guys take the time and care to do that for them and help alleviate that stress.
Yeah, we're all licensed in life and health, and we understand their benefits, and so we can help educate them. Nobody likes insurance. Come on, we know this.
Yeah.
But it's a necessary thing.
Yeah.
And this is a good one. It
Yeah.
really does help people a lot.
Well, and the fact that you've stayed with the company as long as you have speaks volumes about the products and services they provide. I mean, you know, you see it a lot. Kind of salespeople tend to jump from different companies,
Sure.
selling different things. You know, they reach a certain kind of income level or something. But you having been there almost 10 years, right? That certainly speaks volumes about how they take care of you and how you've built your book of business and been successful.
I think it's the best company I've worked for.
Yeah.
I really do. I feel like they are very concerned about the sales force.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make sure that we have all of the tools and opportunities to do the best that we can for our clients. And that's where we are, is focusing on our clients and what is their need. If I sit down with a business owner and they say, hey, this is not for me, okay, I will just back off and not try to push them, because it's not about what we want, it's about what that business owner needs, what their employees need, and how can we best suit their needs.
Yeah, and Aflac's still a privately owned company, so they're not
Family
a
owned.
big board of director, you know, getting to the bottom line. They see, because that privately held kind of that umbrella kind of tends to build that human element within the company, and I'm sure it trickles down.
We are on the stock exchange.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not that we don't have a board to answer
Sure.
to, but we are family owned, and do keep most everything in house.
Yeah.
And they are very hands-on.
Yeah, I love
The
that.
leadership is very hands-on. They want to know what's going on in the field for us. And I think one thing Aflac excels at as well is being at the forefront of what's going on in the market,
Yeah.
and politically. Obviously, healthcare reform has been a huge deal.
Right,
And
yeah.
so we try to help with those kinds of struggles. How are you dealing with this, with the replacement or repeal of the Obamacare, and how do you deal with that with your employees? What does that mean for your health insurance, your rates, your deductibles, and how can we help change that if we need to?
Deductibles, you said, were around what, $4,000, $5,000 averaging out right now, or something silly?
Very often.
Wow.
Yeah. They're very often out-of-pocket costs will be $4,000 to $5,000 minimum on many health plans. And employees who were polled said they don't even have $1,000 to put towards those expenses.
It's almost heartbreaking.
That's where we come in.
Yeah.
That's where we come in, is to give them money to do what they need to do.
Right, it's not like they're going to abuse it. It's not like they're trying to get the money from the insurance company to go buy a new car. They're trying to feed their families and pay their mortgage, and it's just an incredible thing. I really
And if
do
their
love
car
that.
was totaled in an accident, well, maybe they will put some of that money towards that.
Yeah,
That's fine.
sure.
They're the ones who know what their family needs
Right.
now in the midst of a tragedy.
Yeah.
And that's where we come in.
And so we talked a lot about more like W-2 style employees, but there's products and services you can provide for 1099 and independent contractors as well, right?
And individuals. One thing that Aflac has recognized recently is this is going to be much more of a gig economy. And so that gig economy is going to mean more individuals that are not part of a company at all. Maybe they just come in and work for you for a few hours or a few weeks.
Sure.
So we're revamping our individual side of the programs that we have available. And yes, we have for many years been able to come into a business that has 1099s. One thing I specialize in are salons and spas, because they're booth renters, possibly, and if they don't work, they don't get paid. So now if they get hurt, and with a stylist, imagine you trip and fall over a curb, you break a wrist, you're out of work for a while.
Yeah.
How do you pay your bills? And so that's how we help with those kinds of employees. They're not going to have the benefits that a big company has, where they come in with health insurance for everybody, or even Aflac for everybody. So we can individualize that and help each employee.
And that's amazing to think, like, even with the coming generation, I'm kind of in the middle of like the Gen Y, millennial generation, I guess. But the millennials now, you're seeing that they're having 3, 4, 5 different jobs, kind of freelancing between those things, and they're not really settling down. I mean, because typically people don't want to give you benefits unless you've been in a job for 6, 7, 10, 12 months before they can do that, or 90
30 days minimum.
Yeah.
But usually more like 60 to 90 days before they're willing to invest in you as far as the benefits
And
go.
millennials don't have the best reputation of staying in one job.
I wasn't going to go there.
Yeah, but that's amazing that your company is responding to seeing kind of what the trend is in the marketplace, and
it's important.
Yeah.
It's important. We've always been the leader of this industry and in the forefront, and we're very interested in staying there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. There's just so many different things I want to ask about, like between everything and doing all of the stuff that you do. I mean, it just seems like there's such a wealth of product that can help people, but they just don't know about it. They don't know about all the stuff that you can actually do for them.
They really don't. And I don't have a storefront.
Yeah.
So I just walk into your office and say, hey, I would like to get on your calendar for a few minutes. Let me learn about your business and see what I can do to help. And I'm just another salesperson.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is find ways to activate that particular activating system that we all have. You can drive by the same building day in and day out, and you don't see it until something brings it into the forefront of your mind, puts it on your whiteboard. And so we want to get to that business owner. And so that's one thing that people can help me with, is getting to business owners so I can help more people. That's my struggle.
It's really, it's just amazing. I just love talking to you. I can tell you're so passionate about what you do, and passionate about helping people. And yeah, you're right. You don't have a storefront. There's so many different businesses. I drive on Courtney all the time, and I'm surprised to see a business there. And it's, especially in the Brevard County, there's a lot of locally small owned and operated businesses within here. It's unique. We don't have a lot of, you think the tourist side obviously has a lot of corporate structure, but there's a lot of smaller businesses that could certainly benefit from your assistance.
There are, and it might surprise you to know that we are only in about 7% of the businesses in Brevard County.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah, it is. So there are plenty of businesses out there for us to talk to. It's just getting to them and letting them know what we do.
Yeah, and if someone had questions about what they want to do, to kind of talk us through what the best way to get in touch with you is, and then going forward what the process would look like for you.
Okay. My cell phone is always the best way to get in touch with me. It's on me all of the time. My Aflac email, I have an Aflac Facebook page. All of those are great ways to contact me. And if you are an employee watching this right now and your employer doesn't have Aflac, go talk to him. Say, call Patty, she'll help.
And are you limited to the Brevard County area, or are you able to go
all of Florida? And we can actually be licensed in other states as well. I'm from Colorado, so I happen to be licensed there.
Sure.
If somebody had a company in Georgia, we could get licensed there and go help them there if they wanted us to do that.
Well, and the Aflac network is so expansive too that you could probably refer an agent that you know up there, or
absolutely.
Whatever.
We work with bigger companies that maybe have offices in various states, and we have ways to help them as well, to partner with companies that are there and Aflac agents that are in other states.
And if you're as a small business owner, what would be the minimum amount of employees that you would want to have before you started kind of exploring the benefits and insurance side of the business?
Well, let's say you're a mom and pop operation, so it's you and your spouse and one employee. That's what we need to start a small group, so they can actually take advantage of all of the group benefits that we have. So just 3 people. 3 people? Yes.
And then is there a maximum amount of people that you could insure? That's probably a silly question, but.
Not as far as I'm concerned. I'm guessing Aflac would say no.
Yeah.
We'll take any size company at all. There's just a lot more logistics.
Oh, sure.
A lot more involved in dealing with that. We have a separate company within Aflac that deals with the larger groups, and we have separate programs within Aflac that are for those larger groups that meet their needs a lot better.
And you said that delineation line's about 100 employees?
Yeah, we kind of move it to that 100 lives case or over for the true group products that we call them.
Okay, and there's a story behind, so we have the duck right here. I don't know if you can see it, you probably can't, but there's a story behind the duck. So Aflac, obviously, like I said, it seems like a very warm and welcoming company, and they have an awesome program, and I'd love for you to talk about kind of what the ducks mean and how they help their community.
What a lot of people don't know is Aflac has a cancer and blood disorder center for children in Atlanta, and that's something that the proceeds from the ducks go to help. And many of us as agents will donate on our statement every month because that's in our heart. Cancer insurance is more or less where we started, and it's still a big deal. I know that I personally have seen clients from a 2.5-year-old with cancer. That was a personal client of mine, to people who are, retired and have kept their Aflac program for 10 years after they quit their job and got paid on that cancer program.
Yeah.
So the way we do things makes a big difference, and the ducks are part of that.
Yeah.
So all of the proceeds do go to this, and it's a wonderful organization.
So it's not just a marketing ploy. There's actually a lot of care and
yes,
a lot of giving back to the community. Yeah. And Aflac's obviously based out of Atlanta, so that's where they have the center, and it's just an amazing thing. So,
and most recent development in the ducks is one that actually interacts with a child who has cancer.
Oh my goodness.
And so this duck will move and talk and interact with this child who's going through this, and so it gives them something to love, to hold on to.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing what they've done with the technology. So you should check out those new ducks that we have.
And have you made your way up to the Atlanta hospital?
I have not been.
Yeah.
No.
Probably a rough place.
I would need lots of tissue.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be kind of a rough place to go, but it'd be surely an enlightening one.
The gal that recruited me, my hairdresser's mom.
Yeah.
My hairdresser's sister had cancer as a child.
Sure.
And they had to live in another state while this young lady was going through cancer. And that's one of the benefits, is our travel benefit, if you will, if you have to be outside your home area.
Yeah.
So mom was able to go and stay with her daughter at this facility.
That's amazing.
Because of that. And that afterward is when she started working for Aflac.
Yeah, peace of mind. I mean, gosh,
it is.
Your whole life is probably uprooted, and there's so much emotion behind it.
I mean, you can imagine having a child with cancer.
I couldn't. It breaks my heart.
I couldn't until recently either.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, Patty, you're so passionate about what you do, and like, she's not the typical salesperson. Obviously, if you're looking in, she's very consultative and really wants to take care of people, and I think that's more of a company culture, but I think it's obviously most evident in you, and so we appreciate you being on the show. And
thank you for having me.
Of course, if you have any questions about insurance, Patty is, like she said, available via cell phone and all of that stuff. We'll make sure to put your phone number in the comments below so people can get in touch with you.
Appreciate that.
And we just appreciate having you on the show.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you next week, and have a great long holiday weekend. Thank you guys so much.